Wisdom is true wealth. It's certainly the source, the cause, and the root system behind the fruit system that we call wealth. In today's session, you're going to find out why and how with me, your host, Bishop Wayne Malcolm, the business bishop, welcoming you to another Kingdom Conversation.
Whoever knew that I could go to any place my heart says so. Gonna make it deep inside, I know, in time, potentially. In time, potentially. Nothing is impossible to them that believe. Receive, conceive, achieve, and live by the dream. Walk the talk and talk the walk and mean what you say. Throw the old life up. Yeah, I've got potential to be what I dream. I can see it. I believe I can be in time potentially.
Hey, Kingdom family, it's the business bishop, and welcome to another Kingdom Conversation. You know, I'm always excited and delighted to be a part of your life and legacy. I have a treat for you. I've committed to posting on this platform on a regular basis, and I have a treat for you. Today, I'm going to take you into a very powerful session. Now, it's a session about wisdom being the root, source, and cause of true wealth. Actually, that was how Solomon saw it. You know, Solomon said, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all you're getting, get understanding. As far as Solomon was concerned, the root, the source, and the cause of his unprecedented wealth was his wisdom, his knowledge, his understanding, which he said were a gift from God. So I think this is going to be a blessing to you. I want you to go through it. But look, don't leave till we finish, because at the end of the session, I have a really important announcement for you. I know it's going to excite you. All right, this is Bishop Wayne, the business bishop. This is your Kingdom Conversation. So we're going to start off with some scripture readings. I'm going to give some context, which is going to kind of explain the meaning of those passages and why they're important to tonight's discussion. We're going to talk about what wisdom is. I'm going to give you a definition for wisdom. Then we're going to look at wisdom as a skill, as insight, as values, and as vision. And we're doing all of this within the context of the real wealth transfer, And of course, you know, embedded in my title is a suggestion. The suggestion is that there are all kinds of false wealth transfers that are going on, but I want to talk about the real one, the one that the scriptures predicted. So let's dive into our scriptures tonight. And here they are, Luke 16, verse 8. Luke 16, verse 8. And the Lord commended the unjust steward. And the steward was, in fact, the financial manager, right? A financial manager. And the Lord commended the unjust financial manager because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. So I want you to notice that according to this passage, the children of this world have commercial wisdom and financial wisdom that the children of light didn't really have. And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely. And that's quite revealing. It's revealing if you think that actually the unjust and the ungodly have tapped into a wisdom that properly belongs to the children of light, but has been kept from us for one reason or another. And I think we dealt with some of those reasons last week. So Proverbs 8, verses 10 through 11. Receive my instruction and not silver, knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. So, wisdom belongs to a higher realm. It is infinitely more valuable than silver and gold. It is it is better than rubies. And the reason is that wisdom can deliver to you silver, gold, and rubies, but silver, gold, and rubies won't make you wise. So the key is that wise people prioritize instruction. They prioritize instruction. Now let's look at this in Proverbs 8, verses 14 through 19. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By me, kings reign. So this is wisdom speaking. Wisdom in Proverbs 8 is personified, and wisdom is speaking and saying, counsel is mine. That's good advice is mine. Sound wisdom, and I am understanding. I have strength, and it is by me, that is by wisdom, that kings reign and princes decree justice. By wisdom, by me, princes rule and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love them that love me. Oh wow. So this is wisdom saying, I love them that love me. And those that seek me early shall find me. Oh wow. Look, I'm trying to just read, but I'm struggling to just read because these scriptures are jumping out at me and they are screaming at me somewhat, and I'm going to have to make a comment. But the whole idea of seeking wisdom early means that you don't wait till you need it, right? Because if you wait till you need it, then you're too late in your search for wisdom. What you've got to do is anticipate some difficult decisions, anticipate some confusing choices, anticipate some obstacles and hurdles, and then seek the wisdom early. Seek the wisdom before you need it. And according to this passage, those who seek me early shall find me. Now, riches and honor are with me. Riches and honor are with me. With who? With wisdom. Yea, durable riches, sustainable riches, lasting riches, generational riches, and righteousness. They are the fruits of wisdom. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. Now, I think those passages are profound because they tell us unapologetically that wise people value knowledge, understanding, and wisdom above material gains and goods, because they understand that wisdom is a root and that wealth is a fruit, and that those who are wise will be wealthy, but not everyone that's wealthy is wise. So the context for the conversation tonight is that the real wealth transfer is a wisdom transfer. You know, Jesus said that the children of this world are wiser in their generation than the children of light. In other words, there is a wisdom that the children of this world have used to build kingdoms, empires, enterprises, industries. They have used this wisdom to build their fortune. And he says, in this respect, they are wiser than the children of light. And the wisdom that they've had is financial wisdom and commercial wisdom. And so if there's going to be a wealth transfer where the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just, then the first wave of that transfer is not going to be physical, because it's important to understand that physical things have spiritual roots. I'm going to say it again. Physical things have spiritual roots. So I'll give you two passages for that. John 1, verse 1 and 2. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. By him were all things made, and without him was not anything made that was made. So that simply means that before there was a world, there was a word, and that the word comes before the world. And the word, the Greek word translated word in John 1 is the Greek word logos, and from logos we get words like logic and logy. So if there's an ology, if there's a sociology, if there's an ology, it's the knowledge of the thing. So before there was a world, there was the logic of God. There was the reason, there was the mind, there was the rationale of God, and physical things came out of the logos. We learn in Hebrews, Hebrews says that by faith we understand, we know, that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made from things which do appear. In other words, physical things have spiritual origins. And if we're going to have a wealth transfer, right? If there's going to be a wealth transfer so that the right people have the resources to do the right thing at the end of the age, then the first wave of the transfer is going to be a transfer of financial and commercial wisdom. And see, when God is giving you an appetite for financial and commercial wisdom, he is prepping you for the transfer of physical assets to come under your management, under your stewardship, and under your control. And, God would not be wise to put financial assets under the management of people who were not financially intelligent. Like, God would be unwise to put commercial and economic assets under the management and stewardship of people who were not commercially sophisticated and financially intelligent. So the first wave in the wealth transfer is an appetite among the children of light for financial wisdom, for commercial wisdom, for economic wisdom. And so this is why I know that the real wealth transfer is taking place, is because, when I first started preaching the gospel of the kingdom as I see it, and I began sharing the fact that the kingdoms of this world are going to become the kingdoms of our Lord, and I began sharing some ideas about wealth and economics and history and sociology and all of these wonderful subjects that I love dealing with. A lot of believers, a lot of preachers thought that I had slipped, tripped, and bumped my head, right? They thought the aliens have landed. They thought, what has happened to Bishop? Like, has he lost his mind? Because he's talking about stuff that just doesn't make sense and doesn't really fit in with our tradition. But that was in the early days. But now I'm in demand, like all over the world. And I'm in demand because believers, unlike in any generation, have an appetite for financial intelligence and commercial wisdom. Like, we want to know how to manage assets, how to manage estates, how to manage portfolios. We want to understand the world of investing like never before. Believers, I've never seen this. Like, in all of my years, and I met Christ when I was at the ripe age of 15 years old, right? And today I'm like none of your business years old, right? But here I am, okay? All of these decades later, And I've never seen such an appetite for entrepreneurial education, an appetite for commercial wisdom, an appetite for financial intelligence. And it's like God is planting it in the believers because there can be no wealth transfer. There can be no meaningful wealth transfer of physical, financial, economic assets to believers who are financially ignorant, commercially ignorant, and economically ignorant. We have to, so God is giving us this appetite. And so the first phase of the wealth transfer is a transfer of wisdom. It's a transfer of wisdom. All right. Some of you found my comment funny. God bless you. It is funny. Right. So here goes. What is wisdom? So I'm going to give you my definition of wisdom, and it's difficult to define wisdom. Why? Because there is the wisdom of God and there's the wisdom of men. And it's equally difficult to define righteousness, because righteousness, when speaking of God, is the fact that he's right all the time. Right? So when we talk about God's righteousness, we're talking about his rightness. But when we talk about human righteousness, that is a status conferred on by faith in Christ. So he declares us righteous because of faith. It's not that we're right all the time, but he declares us righteous. He confers the status of righteousness upon us in exchange for our faith in Christ. Wisdom is likewise difficult to define because God's wisdom and its human expression are distinct. So let's look at God's wisdom right here. Wisdom is the logos, that is the logic, it's the logic, the logos, the knowledge, the mind, counsel, and perspective of God on any given matter. So wisdom is God's perspective on your situation or circumstance. Wisdom is what God knows about it. Wisdom is God's advice in that issue. So whatever the issue, whether it's health, wealth, relational happiness, whether it's business, your professional life, ministry, politics and governance, whatever it is, God has counsel and perspective and logic and knowledge about that situation, and that fundamentally is his wisdom. Now, his wisdom is evidenced in us by our actions, our choices, and our decisions. Actions, choices, and decisions. So human beings are only wise in their actions, choices, and decisions. God is wise in his supreme intelligence, but we are only wise in our actions, choices, and decisions. And I really want to break that down because I think that this is perhaps the most controversial and challenging idea. Because a lot of people think they are wise in their mind, right? They think, you know what, I can see this from another perspective. I can see what's going to happen if we go down this path. I can see this, I can see that. And they've got these thoughts, and in their mind, their thoughts are wise. However, wisdom is a skill. Wisdom is a skill. Wisdom is evident in choices, decisions, actions, and abilities. One more time. Wisdom is evident in choices, decisions, actions, and abilities. In other words, you can be wise in your mind all day long, but if you make the wrong choice, you're not wise. Unless you make wise decisions, you're not wise. Unless you take wise actions, you're not wise. Unless you possess certain abilities, you are not wise. Because wisdom, when it comes to men, is a verb or an action word that is only visible in your deeds. You're not visible in your thoughts. Sorry, you're not wise in your thoughts. You're not wise in your words. You're only wise in your deeds. What you say doesn't make you wise. What you do is the hallmark of wisdom. Wow. So a lot of people who say wise things but don't do wise things. Okay? And so we can't call you wise because of what you say. We can only call you wise because of what you do. Wisdom is a verb, an action word. It's an action word. So I don't want us to think about wisdom as this superior knowledge. I want you to think about wisdom in terms of smart choices. I want you to think about wisdom in terms of strategic decisions. I want you to think of wisdom in terms of taking the actions that need to be taken when they need to be taken. I want you to think of wisdom in terms of your ability to convert what you need into what you want. So that's what you want into what you need. So that's my point number one. Point number one is that wisdom is a skill. It is an ability. In fact, the word wisdom is used in the Bible so many times to describe skill. So wisdom is an ability. What is the ability? It's the ability to turn what you have into what you need. Oh my word. I'm sorry, guys. That's a glockenspiel moment. Wisdom is the ability to turn what you have into what you need. With this skill, you can never be poor, no matter how little you have. And without this skill, you cannot be rich, no matter how much abundance is at your disposal. You see, wisdom is this ability to take what you have and turn it into what you need. So wisdom takes land and turns it into a farm. Wisdom takes trees and turns it into chairs and tables and shelves and boats. Wisdom takes rocks and turns them by process into gold. Because a gold nugget just looks like a rock, but you turn it into gold by process. And without this skill, with this skill, you can never be poor, because you can take what you have and you can turn it into what you need. But and whatever you have. So if all you have, is small, your wisdom will turn it into what you need. Without this skill, you cannot be rich, because you can die of thirst standing in a reservoir, because you can die of hunger standing in a field, because you don't know how to take what you have and turn it into what you need. And this is a very important manifestation and evidence of wisdom. Wise people are not looking at what they have and complaining. They're looking at what they have and they're saying, okay, how can we turn this into what we really want? So this brings me to point number two. What do you have? Okay? What do you have? And there is supposed to be a you there, so I'm not using slang, but what do you have? Because Mark 4 verse 25 says, for he that hath, to him shall be given, and he that hath not, from him shall be taken even that which he hath. Hold on a second. There's a bit of a paradox in this passage, because if you have, you're going to be given more. But if you don't have, it's going to be taken away from you what you do have. So the issue here is, who is it that said you have or you don't have? Because the person who doesn't have, he that hath not, clearly has something, because something's going to be taken away from him. And so the problem for he that hath not is that he called his something nothing. He said that this something is nothing. And when you call your something nothing, the something you have will be taken away. Woo! When you call your something nothing, the something you have will be taken away. He called it nothing. He said, I don't have anything. And so Jesus says, what you have will be taken away. But here's another guy saying, I have something. He's called his nothing something. He says, I have something. He calls his nothing something, and because he calls his nothing something, he shall be given more. So wisdom is a way of seeing something in nothing. Wise people can see something in nothing. They'll call nothing something. They'll be quote unquote down to nothing, but they'll say, God has not left me without seed. God, when I feel like I'm down to nothing, God's up to something. And they've called their nothing something. And so they're able to multiply it. Whereas there are others who call their something nothing, and the something they have gets taken away. Woo! Point number 3, seed potential. What you have is the key to what you need. I never forget the first time I heard this. It radically changed my life. Listen carefully. Something you already have from God is the key to everything else God has promised you. I'm going to say it again. Something you already have from God is the key to everything else God has promised you. You have to recognize its seed potential. You have to recognize it, respect it, and realize its potential. You have to look at your so-called nothing and say, this is seed. This is something. This can become more than it is. I'm going to dive into that in more detail later on. Point 4, opportunities. Guess what? God gives opportunities, but wisdom secures outcomes. Woo. Oh my word. I'm going to woo. God gives opportunities, but wisdom secures outcomes. And the whole problem is we out here praying for outcomes. Okay? We want God to give us outcomes. We want God to give us a thriving, growing, profitable business. We want God to give us happy marriages and homes and bright children. And we want God to give us health and fitness. We want God to give us outcomes. That's infantile prayers coming from an infantile, a spiritually immature mindset. Because what the spiritually mature know is that God does not give you outcomes. You create outcomes. What God gives you is opportunities. And it's your wisdom that's going to secure the outcomes. The wise turn their opportunities into outcomes. I'm going to give you a quick example, right? King Solomon, the wisest king in Israel, his first test was 2 women. The Bible says they were both harlots. And they came to Solomon with 1 baby. And each claimed parental custody of the 1 baby. So the truth of the matter was that both of these women had the same opportunity. They both had a child. They both had a boy. One slept on their opportunity. The other slept with their opportunity. Oh, help me now. I wish I had some help in here. One of the women slept on their opportunity. The other slept with the opportunity. One mothered her opportunity. The other smothered her opportunity. One of them nurtured her opportunity and the other neglected her opportunity. And so they both had the same opportunity, but they had different outcomes. And the one baby was brought to Solomon, and Solomon said, "Bring me a sword. I'm going to cut the baby in two. You have half, and the other has half." And the real mother spoke up, because the real mother who slept with her opportunity, the real mother who mothered her opportunity, the real mother who nurtured her opportunity, would rather the opportunity live and she suffer than for the opportunity to die. So this is what wisdom really looks like. Wisdom is evident in people who can see an opportunity and turn it into an outcome. It's evident in people who don't say, "I have nothing." They say, "I have something." It's evident in people who realize the seed potential of the little things that they have. And this brings me to the law of recognition. The law of recognition. The law of recognition. I want you to know that God cannot get anything to you without your recognition of the key or the seed that will bring it to pass. If you can't recognize the opportunity, God can't give you the outcome. And if you don't recognize the key, God can't open the door. And if you don't recognize the seed, God can't give you the harvest. Let's have a look at this. 2 Kings 4 verse 1 to 2 is one of my favorite passages in the whole Bible. It says, "Now there cried a woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant, my husband, is dead. And thou knowest that my servant did fear the Lord, and the creditor has come to take unto him my two sons, to be bondmen. And Elisha said unto her, What shall I do for thee? Tell me, what hast thou in the house? And she said, Thy handmaiden hath not anything in the house, save a pot of oil." Wow and wow. So the story is that this woman is bereaved. She's lost her husband, who was a prophet that worked with Elisha. And he was a good man, and he left the family in debt. And the creditors had come and were going to take her two sons to be bondmen, to be slaves. And unfortunately, this was an economy that relied on men. Like, if a woman was to survive in the ancient world, in that particular economic reality, she needed a father, she needed a husband, or she needed sons, or she needed brothers. Because they were the workers, they were the warriors. And I'm not saying that's right, I'm just saying that's how it was. So when the creditors had come to take away her two sons, they were cutting off her economy. They were cutting off. Her husband had died, and her two sons were the only economic sustenance she had left. And the creditors had come to take away her two final remaining income streams. And we know what she was asking Elisha. She was asking Elisha for money. She was saying, Elisha, what shall I do? Elisha, my husband was a good guy. He worked for you. And I'm in this position. So here's what Elisha said. Elisha, the prophet, and this is what the prophetic will always do. What shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? Oh, wow. So that a genuine prophetic voice is always going to cause you to conduct an internal audit to figure out what it is you already have in the house, Because a genuine prophetic voice knows that something you already have from God is the key to everything else God has promised you. And what you're looking for is hidden in your house and sometimes hidden in plain sight. So when you're looking for economic prosperity and you're looking for economic opportunity, that opportunity is closer than you think, but it's waiting for you to recognize it. To recognize it. So I've got these 3 points here, right? The little pot of oil. That little pot of oil, I want you to notice what she said. Thy handmaiden has not anything in the house. I don't have nothing except a pot of oil. Well, that pot of oil was overlooked, it was undermined, it was unappreciated, yet it was the key to everything else that she needed. Something that you have overlooked, something that you've undermined, something that you failed to appreciate is in fact the key to everything else that you want from God. That's prophetic wisdom. Number 2, your prayers answered. God cannot get anything to you without your recognition of the seed, of the key, of the opportunity. You must recognize that what you have is the key to everything else God has promised you. What God has promised you is not dependent on something you don't have. It is relying on something you already do have. And a lot of people fail to conduct the personal audit to figure out what they do have. Because they're looking around the house and saying, well, I don't have anything in the house. But you do have knowledge. You do have a set of skills. You do have a passion. You do have a story. You do have a message. You do have relationships and networks. You do have things. And this is why you got to count your blessings and name them one by one, because it will surprise you what the Lord has already done. If you really want to be depressed, then all you have to do is focus on the things you don't have, the things that are not working, and the things that are hurting you in life. But if you really want to break the back of that depression, you want to start being grateful for the things you do have. You have life. You have a degree of health. You have a roof over your head. You have food in the cupboard. You have friends. You have family. You have experience. You have expertise in a particular field. You have knowledge. You have passion. You have energy. These are things you have. And as you begin to count your blessings and name them one by one, it will surprise you what the Lord has done. And as you give God praise for everything that you actually do have, that's going to shift you into a very wise mindset that says, hold on, how do I take all these things that I have and turn them into what I really need? Number 3, keys and their kingdom. Keys and the kingdom. Keys don't look like the doors they open. Woo! Oh my gosh, I need to. That's an air horn moment. Keys don't look like the doors they open. Keys look small and they have no shape relationship to the door that they're going to open. Seeds don't look like the harvest they produce. You must recognize the seed power and the key potential of the little things that you possess. And realize if this does not meet my need, then it is my seed. If it doesn't meet my need, then it is seed. And this little thing, this little skill, this little gift I have, this little talent that I have, is actually the seed for my future harvest. It is the key to my next breakthrough. Now, I want to deal with wisdom as values. Wisdom as values. This one is epic and super important. This passage right here is mind-boggling. Are you ready for this? Here goes. Isaiah 55, verse 10 through 11. For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and makes it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater. I've put that in bold. Seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So the earth brings that forth because God waters the earth. With the rain and the snow, he waters the earth, and it brings forth so that it gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. God says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it will prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. And what's it going to prosper in? The thing whereunto I sent it. So the question is, what is the thing whereunto God sent it? And this brings us to the idea. It brings us back to the part that says that the earth gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. Seed to the sower and bread to the eater. You now need to decide, am I a sower or am I a eater? Because if I'm a eater, then God's word is going to give me bread. But if I'm a sower, then his word is going to give me seed. If I'm a eater, I'm going to get bread, but if I'm a sower, I'm going to get seed. You must decide if you are a sower or an eater. You must decide, are you a consumer or a producer? Because God won't give seed to eaters and he won't give bread to sowers. Wow and wow. Great to have someone in from Cyprus. God will not give seed to eaters, because if God gives seed to eaters, they're going to eat the seed and destroy their future and destroy their harvest. If all you want is a meal for today, you can ask God and ask people and they'll make a way for you and you'll get food for today. That's bread to the eater. But wisdom values the seed over the bread. And wisdom is a set of values that says, I am looking for seed because I am looking for a source, not just a temporary supply. I am looking for a harvest. I'm looking for a future. I am looking for my children's children. I am looking for generational wealth. I am looking beyond my personal needs. I want seed. So what you're going to get from the word is seed. But there are other people who just want bread. And all you're going to get is a bite for tonight. And you've got a bite for tonight. But tomorrow you're going to have to beg for another bite. And God's not raising up a generation of beggars. God, in this wealth transfer, is raising up a generation of people and a culture, a remnant of people who value the seed over the bread. Doesn't mean we don't get hungry sometime and we need bread. But in our value system, we want the seed. So I want you to notice this. Seek and you will find. If you're hungry, you'll ask for bread. But if you're wise, you'll ask for seed. The hungry want loaves and fish. The wise want seed. And the wise want land to sow the seed in. And the wise want boats and nets. The thirsty want water, but the wise want wells. And see, God is raising up a remnant who are wise in their values. That we value the seed. We value the land. We value the boats. We value the net. We value the wells. Whereas the consumer's mindset is, I value the bread, I value the fish, and I value the cup of water. So all you want is bread, is 5 loaves, 2 fish, and a good glass of cold, clean water to guzzle it down, and you're satisfied. The problem is that tomorrow you're going to need to do that again, and the next day you're going to need to do it again. And you're going to be going to the people who have seed and land. And you'll be going to the people who have boats and nets, and you'll be going to the people who have dug wells, and you'll be begging them for your supply, and they're going to charge you for their supply because they're on the right side of the wealth transfer. Because wealth is moving, but it's moving from consumers to producers. Wealth is always moving from consumers to producers. You know, I was in a restaurant one time. I was thinking about all of this. I was in the restaurant, and the restaurant was packed. I mean, it was just full of people. And while I sat in the restaurant, I realized that a wealth transfer is happening right here, right now. I mean, money is flowing from all these consumers to this one producer. And we're all paying for our meals and for the environment and for the atmosphere. And it was great, but it was eye-opening to me that if you're going to be on the right side of the wealth transfer, you have to become a producer, because you're never going to be on the right side of the wealth transfer if all you are is a consumer. What if everything you've been taught about money, prosperity, and God's intention for the earth has been too small, too narrow, and totally disconnected from the original plan? What if your struggle has never been about your potential, but about your perspective? And what if the real economy, the one God designed before the foundations of the world, has been waiting for you to discover it? Well, that's why I wrote Kingdom Economics. And before this book is released to the world, I want to give you an opportunity to get ahead of everyone else, to join the waiting list, and to be among the first to access a revelation that is going to redefine how you see wealth, work, stewardship, and purpose. Kingdom Economics is not another book about money. It's a prophetic blueprint. It's the rediscovery of God's original purpose for global prosperity, the prosperity of nations, families, and kingdom citizens. It'll show you that God has a purpose, a plan, and a process for your increase, and that everything He designed for you begins with alignment, not anxiety. From Eden to Abraham to Christ, this book reveals a pattern. God never intended scarcity. God never mandated smallness. God never glorified survival. He created you for dominion, productivity, influence, and generational impact. But here's the important part. The book is not yet released, and before we make it available publicly, I want to open the doors for those who are hungry, ready, and positioned to join the waiting list. And to reward early action, I'm giving something special. The first 50 people who join the waiting list and purchase the book on release day will receive the full audiobook version completely free. That's right, buy the physical or digital book on release day, and if you're among the first 50 buyers from the waiting list, the professionally narrated audiobook is yours at no cost. This will allow you to not only read the revelation, but also hear it, meditate on it, and carry it with you as you rise into a new economic reality. Join the waiting list today, be among the first to receive Kingdom Economics when it launches, and secure your chance to receive the audiobook absolutely free. This book will challenge you, stretch you, correct you, elevate you, and align you with God's original design for your life. Your future is calling, your assignment is calling, and creation is groaning for what you will build next. Join the waiting list now and be one of the first 50 to claim the free audiobook when Kingdom Economics is released.
Hey, I'm Bishop Wayne Malcolm, author, coach, and founder of the Epic Kingdom Network. If you've ever felt like something's missing in what you've been taught about Christianity, you're not wrong. Most of us were taught that heaven and the hereafter are the goal, prize, and sole objective of the faith. But the original message of Christ taught us to engage, to influence, and to transform the world. Believe it or not, Jesus didn't die to get us into heaven. He died to get heaven into us, and then through us into the earth. What if I told you that Christianity was never meant to be a religion, but rather a relationship and a global revolution? A divine intervention, not a man-made institution. The original message and mission of Christ was hijacked, diluted, distorted, and replaced with a religion. My new ebook, Kingdom Theology for Kingdom Citizens, is not just another devotional, it's a call to action. A bold reintroduction to the original message of Christ, a message of dominion, not escapism, of transformation, not tradition. You'll learn what it means to rule and reign with Christ, to steward wealth with purpose, to influence government, education, culture, and business as an ambassador of heaven. This book will shift your lens, stir your spirit, and set you on course with divine clarity. And right now, for a limited time, I'm giving you free access to the digital and audiobook versions. No cost, no catch. Just click the link in the description, grab your copy, and step into clarity.
Hey there, entrepreneurs! If you enjoy the teachings of Bishop Wayne Malcolm, I've got something amazing for you. Introducing the New Breed Community, an exclusive online platform for kingdom-conscious entrepreneurs, professionals, investors, and creators. This isn't just a community, it's a movement where we discuss and explore kingdom concepts. Here, kingdom-minded people connect, share, learn, and grow together. Inside, you'll find exclusive content from Bishop Wayne Malcolm, including special sessions just for members. And the best part? It's free to join. The New Breed Community sits on the Heartbeat platform, where Bishop Wayne Malcolm is excited to meet you online. Join us for weekly Q&A sessions with Bishop Wayne and get exclusive insights that can transform your life. Love to read? Join our book club to feed your mind and spirit. Got a prayer request? Post it and let's lift each other up. Have a testimony? Share how God's goodness is shining in your life. We're more than just a community, we're a movement. Discover the powerful relationship between your profession and your purpose. Join us now on the Heartbeat platform. Connect with us and let's grow together. Bishop Wayne Malcolm and the New Breed Community are waiting for you. So what are you waiting for? Hit that join button and step into a world of connection and growth. A warm welcome awaits you. See you on the inside.